the old lion taking on the young, up-and-coming, four-belt champion, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, May 20th. I love this fight, Chris. He's Chris Algieri, by the way. I'm Dan Canobbio, and we're breaking down a fight for all the belts at 135 pounds. A huge, huge fight for Lomachenko's legacy. A big fight for Devin Haney's legacy as well. He wants to go out there and prove, yeah, I beat Kambosos, but I can take out a legend. I love this fight for so many different reasons. It's a big fight on the calendar.
Yeah, and another reason that you didn't mention is it is yes, it's an undisputed fight, but it's actually a true lineal undisputed fight because Haney, I'm not loving this multi-belt era where now we have all these undisputeds and like guys are like a guy like Kambosos became undisputed. That should never.
Who beat the man? Who beat the man?
Which is my point. So I don't like that because Lomachenko collected those belts, became undisputed.
So what you're saying is not all undisputed champions are built the same.
Correct. And
I can kind of agree with that.
I can't compare Kambosos to even though he beat Lopez, I think they've had 100 times. Lopez beats him 99. He just had an incredible night, incredible performance.
And Teofimo had the worst game plan known to man.
Correct. And probably had a mental breakdown the whole week and from months leading up to that fight. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I think Teofimo was a true undisputed because he beat Lomachenko and he did it well. But I don't know, a guy like Kambosos comes in, becomes undisputed, then Haney comes in and gets rid of Kambosos from any kind of title contention for a long time, probably ever. And now Haney, who has this undisputed and got it from the man who got it from the man who got it from the man, is now fighting the original man. So he wins now. There's no more argument. Yes, he is a absolute undisputed, going in the history books. Love it. But I still need to see that.
That's a lot to unpack, what you just said. I love it because it's making me think. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what drives Devin Haney.
Yes.
What you just said right
100%.
there. Because another guy that's tweeted at me. Mm-hmm. What are these guys doing tweeting at me? I'm just going to get ready for fights. I'm undisputed. He tells me, I should be higher up at the list of jabs, landed, whatever numbers I put out there. He's got a chip on his shoulder, Devin Haney.
Well, I mean, for the guys at home, the fighters, you can't fudge the numbers. So if you want to be higher in the list, you got to throw more jabs.
That's a whole. I put out a thing. I put out the top 10 best jabs in boxing by the numbers.
By the numbers.
And people are tweeting me, nah, man, how do you leave Devin Haney off this? It's not opinions. All right, I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get really angry if I keep talking about that. But the reasons you just listed of why some people don't perceive Devin Haney as there's a lot to prove still are the things that fuel him. Mm-hmm. This is why I think he's taking on Lomachenko before he's going up to 140.
Chips are good. Young guys need chips on their shoulder.
He can only fight who's put in front of him.
Correct.
You've told me this numerous times. So when Kambosos upsets Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney and Kambosos tangle, and you got to give Haney credit.
We also got to remember historically that it was supposed to be Lomachenko, Kambosos, Ukraine.
Yes.
Situation happens. Lomachenko falls out of the race now, and that allows Haney to take this fight.
We'll get to Lomachenko.
It's
a lot of stuff with Lomachenko too.
Yes.
But Haney can only fight the guys that are in front of him. So Kambosos has the night of his life, whatever. He beats Teofimo. You got to give Haney some credit, number one, for figuring out a way to get this fight done. He leaves Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. He goes to Top Rank. Didn't take less money. That was a false narrative out there. I can confirm that from people that were directly in those negotiating rooms. But he did give up some certain concessions to fight Kambosos. He fought him not once, but twice in Australia.
Over there,
so
yeah.
for whatever you want to say about Kambosos' skill level, I think there were some other intangibles that went into this that made an impressive win for Haney. Maybe winning 22 or 23 of the 24 rounds that they fought. Second one was a stoppage, right? Or
no,
was not a decision?
Yeah.
Okay. So they fought 24 times. Haney probably won 22, 23 of them. The fact that he did it over in Australia and he did it twice. Yeah, okay. He didn't do it the same way maybe that Canelo did, but I still think he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done at age 23.
Oh, 1,000%. I'm not taking anything away from Haney. I'm just saying that, just like you said, the people that have the arguments for why, whatever. Even his first belt, he got it. He was an interim and he gets it in the mail.
He's the email, like this guy, email champ.
Yeah, I know.
He's made a lot of money because he's played it correctly
yes.
with his dad as promoter, his own promotions. He's fought on almost every platform, but he's made a lot of money, but what he's given up for it, he's been labeled the email champ.
Yeah.
He has been now like an undisputed, but yeah, who'd you beat Kambosos?
Hey, cool. I'm going to count my money and read your tweets on my way to the bank.
He's making a lot for this fight, too.
Yeah, good. He deserves this. I mean, this is the fight that truly matters, and I think this is the biggest fight of his career by far. So far, he's only 23. He's got a long way to go. But yes, this fight. I mean, this is really for all the marbles at 35. This is
So you rate Lomachenko pretty highly still.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that, I mean, he is the biggest lightning rod in boxing.
I know.
That you bring up his name, you get so many different opinions. You got the people that are steadfast, that think he is still the same Lomachenko that we saw box circles around Gary Russell Jr. in his third fight or whatever. Then you have people that say he is a hype job, he's a creation of HBO, he's a creation now of Top Rank and ESPN. He is well past his prime. He's going to get washed.
Get out.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Listen, he's past his prime for sure. He's on the other side of it, but he's still a phenomenal fighter. And I mean, the things that he was able to do in his career are like record-setting. I mean, he won to fight for a world title his pro debut.
It's a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But I mean, he's gotten better since then because he literally turned into a puncher. He was starting to knock everybody out.
He's changed his style. We'll get into that. He's
and good
changed
fighters,
his style.
too.
There's a lot of parallels between him and Pacquiao late.
Yes, and you know the guy lives the lifestyle. He lives a warrior mentality. He's always training. He's always fit. I think that matters too, especially as you get older. And listen, he's got high confidence, and he's another one. He's got a chip on his shoulder too.
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. So when you have an older guy who has made all the money and still has that chip, not to mention he's got Ukraine on his back, there's a lot of pride involved in this one for even the elder statesman in Lomachenko. This is a good fight.
This is awesome.
This is a good
I mean,
fight.
there's a lot of storylines here. Lomachenko, obviously, his goal has always been to be undisputed.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about his accolades, right? Amateur, what do you got? 350 amateur wins?
I think it's like 395.
One of the best, won 2 golds. And not a lot of
Sick.
fighters have done that.
No.
Kalusha Shields comes to mind on the female side. Lomachenko, that's a ridiculous feat. Became champion all different weight classes when he became a pro. But one thing he has not done is become undisputed. Mm-hmm. And he is willing to stick around 135, a weight class that he does not belong in.
No.
And I know it's probably easier for him to make the weight now
It's gonna be a big storyline
at 34, 35 years old. But he is a small lightweight. He should be fighting at 130. He could potentially be fighting at 126.
We saw that in his last fight. Big
Right.
time.
We'll get to that too. Like, he wants to be undisputed. He's stuck around. The loss to Teofimo was a huge setback. Has shoulder surgery. And what does he do? He fights Nakatani.
Looked awesome in that fight, by the way.
Yeah,
Nakatani was a very solid guy.
Nakatani's very tricky. He switched stances. He hit him with everything but the kitchen sink. I think he landed like over 50% of his power shots. Comey dominates him, drops him. That's that weird moment where
He let him live in that fight.
yeah, has that weird moment where he looks at the ref and is like, "Hey, what are we doing here?" Because he doesn't want to fight anymore.
That was a sustained beating, though.
But then the fight that sticks with me is the Jermaine Ortiz fight. The most recent fight for
boxing is
Lomachenko.
what have you done for me lately?
It is
so.
a what have you done for Late Me Sport. It's the last thing we saw. And in that fight, Lomachenko only landed 22% of his punches total. That's the lowest of his career. He was hit a lot. He only outlanded by like 3 punches. I think Ortiz had the power advantage. I honestly thought it was a really close fight. I thought it was the judges didn't. That's the judges, whatever. They're usually wrong. But he did not look good in that fight.
No.
That's the last thing I saw of Lomachenko was him struggling with a guy that I do think is on the rise in Ortiz, but is not anywhere near Haney.
Ortiz is a lot better than he gets credit for. That's number one. Number two, he's huge. He is so big for 135, and that was obvious in the ring. And I knew that going into the fight. I'd seen him, in person. Like, this is a big 35
Big
pounder.
dude.
Yeah, big guy. And also, but Lomachenko, you got to understand, he's been out of the ring for so long. And when you're older, that's a lot harder. And he had the issue with Ukraine, and he was over there, and all that stress and all that, and not being able to train properly, and just getting in on the road and trying to be on the front line, and just losing family and friends, and having that lay over over you is a big deal, and that's something that you just completely write off. It's like, oh well, his last one was bad. Well, no, there's a lot of reasons for it, but in boxing, excuses don't matter.
Nope.
So it's about how you perform. This is meritocracy. You gotta be able to do it. You gotta perform. So yeah, there is all that. And listen, when you're fighting Devin Haney, who is probably just as big as Ortiz and has a better jab and is, I think, faster than Ortiz, it's a very uphill battle for Lomachenko in this fight.
Lomachenko ranks number 2 in boxing power connect rate, 47.5. He's only I think 0.1 away from Tank, who's number 1. He limits opponents to just 18% of their total connects. That's why he's so high up on the plus-minus. He's number 2 in plus-minus. He was the number 1 plus-minus fighter for a really long time. He's number 3 in total connect percentage, one of the most accurate punchers in boxing. Then you go over to Devin Haney. Does have a good jab.
Yes.
He's looking at my tweets and where am I on this list? He's top 10 in overall jabs percentage-wise. Opponents only land 21% of their total connects. What we saw from Haney in those 2 fights with Kambosos and we saw from most of his career is he is an exceptional jabber and he has great defense and he's not worried about how he wins fights.
Right.
He doesn't listen to the detractors that say you're pillow-fisted, when you're going to knock someone out. He sticks with his game plan and it works for him. And I would be shocked if he deviates from it against Lomachenko. Correct?
I got one word for Haney describing his style. Disciplined.
Yep.
He is extremely, extremely disciplined. He does not let the detractors bother him. He's not let the crowd bother him. He's not let the corners bother him.
Right.
He goes out there. His game plan is I'm going to jab you, I'm going to jab you more, and then I'm going to jab you some more. And that's what he does. And I got no qualms with that. This is boxing. Hit and don't be hit. And he does that very well. He's shown some vulnerabilities. Linares was able to wobble him pretty good in their fight, late in the fight when they fought. But other than that, and Linares is a fantastic fighter, Haney was able to completely shut him out. It was in total control. I was at that fight front row. And, he sticks to the game plan. He's in phenomenal shape. He's big for the weight class. He's quick. And he's a master of range. He keeps the distance really well. When he gets into positions where he doesn't feel comfortable, he's okay with tying you up, turning you, spinning you, getting back out, waiting for the rep to break you up, get back to my jabbing distance where I have the advantage over everybody at 135.
Yeah.
Because he is the biggest, longest, best jabber at 35.
Okay, so Haney versus Jojo Diaz. Southpaw.
Yep.
Jojo Diaz. Lomachenko has shown that he can fight southpaw at times.
Yes.
He switches stances. Haney versus Diaz. Haney landed the least. I think he landed 10 jabs the entire fight. That's what plummeted his number. That's why he wasn't on the list. That's why he did tweet at me. And when I responded, I said, "You're a fight against Diaz. You only landed 10 jabs, and it plummeted your numbers." But that's because Jojo Diaz was a lefty. It's really hard to jab against a lefty.
Yep.
Lomachenko, master of switching stances, master of angles. Could you see Lomachenko coming out southpaw and trying to take away Devin Haney's biggest weapon, the jab?
Well, here's a counter argument to that. Although Haney...
Well, you didn't answer it.
What's that?
You didn't answer it.
No, counter argument to your statement about...
The jabs?
Jojo
Okay,
Diaz.
go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So from a boxing standpoint, it's hard to land jabs on a southpaw.
Yep.
But the jab is an extremely important punch as a blinder and a range distance and a defensive position and to land the right hand. So Haney landed punches that fight, obviously. He
won.
Won the fight. So he was able to use and flash the jab. It's just the way they line up from a stance perspective, from an orthodox to a southpaw. Literally, your lead hand touches their lead hand. So even if they don't move, the jab doesn't.
Yeah.
It's going to hit their glove. That's why the right hand splits the guard, goes down the middle. So from a technical standpoint, his percentages are going to be lower on the jab. But it was still a viable weapon, especially for setting up other things. So does Lomachenko fight the majority of the fight southpaw? I think he does anyway. And is that going to affect the jab numbers? Definitely. Is it going to affect the effectiveness of Devin Haney? Potentially, no.
Okay, another question for you. Is this the toughest fight for each guy? You got to go back a long ways for Lomachenko.
Certainly for Haney.
So you think Lomachenko right now is better than... No, yeah. It's definitely the toughest fight for Haney.
Yes.
Because you take a look, he's fought Jojo Diaz, Kambosos.
Tough fight, Jojo Diaz.
Linares wobbled him.
Yep.
Yoricus Gamboa was one opponent that he fought, and he kind of, I wouldn't say struggled, but he didn't take him out. He could have.
Yeah.
I agree that's the toughest fight
past
for
his
Haney.
prime Gamboa.
Is this the toughest fight for Lomachenko? Gary Russell, Teofimo when he had his head on right. Walters, Linares, a little more prime Linares when he got him and stopped him.
Definitely
Luke
more prime.
Campbell.
I'm going to say this is...
Am I missing anybody? You fought Rigondeaux?
Yeah, but I was at that fight. That was
ugly.
A wash.
Yeah.
Absolute washing. And most of the guys in the smaller weight classes when Lomachenko was fighting in his weight classes were wash. Like he smoked all those guys. Orlando Salido, obviously, he lost to.
Oh, that fight. I mean, could be looked at for a long time. I mean, many low blows.
It was a street.
That was like a grown man fighting like a. I know Lomachenko was a pro, but like he grown man.
It was a street fight. It was a street fight. I'm going to put this in line with Teofimo. And the basis of that is going to be taking it all into account. Age. So age and power were the issue with Teofimo. Teofimo's power is legit at 135. And I was there that night in the bubble when they fought. And Lopez was throwing heaters.
Yeah, he was. Especially that 12th round.
Jeez. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why Lomachenko didn't throw any punches in the first 6 rounds. I mean, the power that was coming from him, from Lopez, was impressive. So when you got a guy like that, who's that dangerous, who could have iced Loma that night, the power that he was throwing, I could see it. And Loma felt it, knew it. He's like, this kid's big, this kid hits hard, I need to be really cautious and bring it on late. So, and again, Lopez pulled that fight out in the 12th round.
Yeah,
I mean,
landed 50 punches in the 12th round.
Yeah, really went for it. And then, so Haney, not a power puncher like Teofimo, but is bigger, longer, faster, tough style. So I think it's it's equal but different.
Okay.
In terms of difficulty.
Let's go head to head.
Head to head.
It's a really close fight, in my opinion. How do you see it from all these different categories?
This is a very interesting head to head. I was writing this down the other night, and I'm like, oof, because it doesn't reflect my prediction.
Okay.
So our 4 categories are power, chin, speed, and boxing ring IQ. So power, I'm going with Lomachenko. We said that his power has changed and gets guys out of there. Even at 35, he still stops guys. He was able to stop Linares to the body, and a younger Linares than who Haney could not stop. Chin, I'm also going to go with Lomachenko, which we don't really see him get hurt in fights. You know, he got
Never
dropped.
seen him hurt.
He got dropped by Linares, but it was a perfect.
That was a body shot.
No, right.
Oh, right. I'm thinking the body shot stopped.
Yes,
Linares.
the body shot stopped Linares.
That was a flash knockdown, kind of.
It was a perfect one, right hand, right down a pipe. Puts him on his butt, he gets right up. But other than that, I mean, he's also fought much tougher opposition than Haney has. So I'm going to go chin that way. Speed, I'm going to go Haney, because the thing about speed, so if you're going hand speed and combination punching and angles, you know, I can give that to Lomachenko, but because of the distance the fight is going to be fought at, the speed is going to actually be on Haney's side.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Because Loma's going to have to cover so much distance to get to him.
Yeah.
So even though he may be quicker, he's not going to get there as fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got it.
And then ring IQ, I'm leaning towards Loma based on experience.
You gotta. He's just been around. That's what's going to get him this win if he wins.
Because the Haney style is a very high IQ, extremely high IQ. But we see him struggle with guys like Jojo Diaz and even Gamboa, like way back when. So like then that's just, you know, his IQ was higher than those guys, but they were close enough, and their experience was that much higher. And Loma just has so much experience. So, and that being said, we'll get to our predictions. But
yeah, I'm going with my prediction right now. I have a hard time seeing Lomachenko turning back the hands of time and having another all-time performance. I just think too much has gone. The years have accumulated, the rounds, the injuries, the past performance against Ortiz. I do think he'll have moments because he's crafty at the ring IQ. The southpaw was going to be a huge aspect of this fight, trying to take away Devin Haney's jab. It's going to come down to, can Lomachenko land those blistering combinations on one of the best defensive fighters, on a guy who has great reflexes. I don't see Lomachenko winning 7 rounds. I see Haney implementing his game plan more. This is obviously something a lot of people are going to agree with. I think the Vegas is going to have Loma. They already do have Haney as a sizable favorite. Haney is going to shine. He's going to make Lomachenko look old, and Devin Haney is going to get his signature win. UD decision.
Yeah. And even though, like I said, I've got almost everything except for speed on the side of Lomachenko in my head-to-head, I got Haney winning this fight, and I think he does it kind of easily.
Yeah.
I think Lomachenko is going to struggle so hard to get inside, and he's going to be getting clipped on the way in so much. It's going to be an easy fight to score. I think his path to victory is actually to the body. Lomachenko's a phenomenal body puncher when he gets into position. Haney has a long torso. I've never really seen anyone do a sustained body attack towards him, so I'm wondering how he's going to be able to take it, especially at a pace that Lomachenko sets. Haney's very good at slowing a fight down. He does have phenomenal conditioning. We haven't really seen him really struggle in terms of conditioning. And he's a great 12-round fighter. Takes his time, keeps distance, fights his own pace. But Loma's a tough guy to keep in a box. The guy cuts angles. He's explosive.
Yep.
Once he finds he's a rhythm fighter. Once he finds that rhythm and fires off that,
he's going to find that rhythm.
and then sticks you in the gut, in the middle of all that. He does that very, very well. And that's where a lot of his knockouts come from. He hurts guys to the body first, and then he ices them up top. Or just like in a Linares situation, he puts him down with a body shot for the count. But I got Haney taking this fight score-wise fairly easily.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a huge fight. Devin Haney wins this fight. He gets, maybe some of the doubters, silence them a little bit. Lomachenko wins, it's arguably a huge feat. He's an undisputed lightweight champion of the world at age, 34 or 35. High stakes in this fight. May 20th, Las Vegas. Huge fight, Devin Haney and Vasiliy Lomachenko. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out.